So thank you so much. Norman, please take it over and do your amazing presentation. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Leila, and lovely to be here. Thanks for the invitation. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Okay, so hopefully that should be coming through now. I assume. So anyway, I'm Norman. So someone can shout if it's not coming through, but I assume it is coming through. So I'm Norman and I work for Dublin City Council, which is based in Ireland. We're the capital city of the country, and so we are the biggest local authority, and so we're often at the very cutting edge of trying to innovate and trying to keep up in touch with like new trends. And obviously circular economy is it's not exactly a new trend per se, but it's certainly becoming a bigger and more important element of the overall economy. So anyway, in my role, I'm involved with research, with policy, with projects and events and things to do with entrepreneurship, with innovation, with social economy, and also with the circular economy. So I'm just going to be chatting to you a little bit about the context of the City Council, a little bit about the circular economy, what it is. I'm going to share some examples of how we in Dublin City Council have been trying to support the circular economy so far. And then I'm also going to talk about a really, really big event that you're all invited to, and we expect to see you there, called Dublin Circular Economy Hotspot 2023. So Dublin City Council, as I said, is the largest local authority in the country. There's about nearly 6,000 staff. And the interesting thing when you're looking at municipalities or local authorities in Ireland or around the world, they have this really unique role in society and the economy because they're trying to manage, they're trying to help cities or counties develop. And the interesting thing in cities is, especially when we're thinking about sustainability and the circular economy, cities on the one hand are massive contributors to many of the kind of the negative impacts we might see regarding climate change and everything, because obviously in cities you've got a high concentration of pollution and waste and so on. But on the other side, cities are also fantastic test beds, because often it's in cities that you see cutting edge innovations, new projects, new entrepreneurs spying opportunities, like we're going to hear from on the panel a little bit later. There's entrepreneurs who are trying new approaches who are based in Dublin City and in Cork City respectively. So in our context, we're working in a whole kind of policy arena where you're trying to balance between enabling new innovations, new approaches, but you're also trying to safeguard vulnerable communities that maybe are very dependent on traditional ways of doing things. So there's a really kind of balanced approach needed. I just wanted to highlight that. But on a more positive side, just to highlight as well, in our whole policy context, the circular economy sustainability is only becoming a bigger and bigger policy agenda item. There's also a specific strategic policy committee. So this is a committee made up of local councillors and local kind of industry experts, and their remit is to try and guide the overall city council all around the areas of climate action, environment and energy, and circular economy would definitely feed into that strategic policy committee as well. So what is the circular economy? Before we get into just like, by the way, this is a nice slide, one of the nicest I could find online, and it's from Business in the Community Ireland. So props to them for sharing it. But anyway, before I just get into explaining this slide, I would say the circular economy, it's not exactly a new concept at all. And maybe one of the simplest ways is just to think back to the way our grandparents, our great grandparents used to do things. If something was broken or damaged, their initial reaction was to get it fixed, or their initial reaction was to figure out, well, how can I use part of it again, or how can I keep an element of it in use for as long as possible. They just didn't think about, you know, discarding something just because a button is broken on it or a zip is gone or whatever. Whereas unfortunately now we live in what people will call a linear economy, where people buy something, use it, and then dispose it. Whereas in the past it was much more circular. There was like products were made to last a lot longer, and also if a product stopped working the way it should have, people were much more innovative, or they tried to fix it themselves, or they bring it to someone who can fix it. Thankfully now we are seeing a return to that kind of approach, but basically the circular economy is that much better way of doing things, that much more sustainable way of doing things. It's the opposite to the linear, it's the opposite to the linear economy, which is just buy, use, get rid of. The circular economy is basically about keeping a product that you buy, or a business keeping a product that they are using or whatever in use for as long as possible, and to extract as much value as possible from it. And you'll be hearing later on some examples on the panel of how folks are actually doing that, some really creative ideas. But basically, just as this slide is showing core elements of what the circular economy is about: reusing things, repairing them, recycling them. You've got a key sector of it is the recycling sector, obviously, who will, whether it's kind of waste disposal companies or whatever, who will take waste products but recycle and use it for other purposes. Circular economy is also very relevant to production, because if you're producing some kind of a product, well, then you want to be thinking, well, what are my raw materials? What's the product that I'm producing? How can I produce this product so that it will have as long a lifespan as possible? How can I design it and produce it that if it does stop working, elements of it can be repaired or can be reused in different ways? So the circular economy is also very relevant to the production cycle, to the design cycle. Another key element is, well, how do I get my products to the end user? Because I'm sure everyone's aware sometimes products can be coming from very, very far away, which then adds massive carbon footprint. Because if I'm getting a product from the other side of the world, a lot of fuel, a lot of processing is used to get that product to me. Whereas if a company is thinking very holistically about the way they're getting their product to the end user, a much more circular approach is to try and do it locally, is to try and cut down that route of getting the product to your end consumer, or just making it as sustainably as possible. And so there's different circular approaches to doing that, whether it's using like better packaging or sustainable packaging, reusable packaging, and so on. And then finally, the consumption piece is about like how people are using the products, in that they're using it in a responsible, circular way, and after they've consumed it, that they're going to stay in this nice loop and reuse, repair, recycle if it's the case of a product, and so on. Okay, so in terms of Dublin City Council, I kind of referred to it a little bit earlier, but like within our core policy, circular economy is very much at the center. So this is just a kind of a breakdown of the core elements of our corporate plan. So it's an important plan that guides the work of the City Council. But one of the key pillars is a green, low carbon city, and the circular economy is very relevant to that. And we've also mapped the strategic development goals, the UN SDGs, against our various objectives and actions and so on. Just turning now to some specific examples of how Dublin City Council has been supporting circular economy. Now, I'm just going to share these in they're more relevant to the business, to the enterprise, the social enterprise kind of arena. There are other examples of how the City Council is supporting circular economy, but these ones are more relevant to entrepreneurship and innovation. So a key thing for businesses is, what is the circular economy? How can I adapt circular economy principles? How can I change my process, and so on? And so we developed a training program for businesses in the city, in the county, and now that program is actually scaling up and it's going to be delivered on a national basis. That program is called Modus, and it's all about training SMEs, small, medium enterprises, about how to trade in a sustainable way, how to future-proof their enterprise. There's also like a Modus Sustainable Innovation Award attached to that, which celebrates businesses that are really good at this and are really trying hard to be as sustainable as they can. More information about that is available on modus.ie. Another example, so through the local enterprise office, this is a specific office within the overall local authority that's set up to be like a first-stop shop. It's supposed to be the place where anyone setting up a business or a social enterprise can come in and get advice, financial support, non-financial support. So through the local enterprise office, there's other training programs, like there's a Green for Micro program, and so that one's all about educating enterprises about green, sustainable approaches. Another thing we run is the Dublin City Social Enterprise Awards, and I know this is it's targeted at social enterprises, but what we see as we support social enterprises, there's a very close overlap between social economy and circular economy. Many of the social enterprises that we help are actually circular economy enterprises. They embed circular economy principles, and they have that holistic approach. So I just wanted to highlight, like, this is a local social enterprise. They use sustainable materials, upcycled materials, to make beehives. They train disadvantaged individuals. They are contributing to biodiversity in the city. They set up these beehives in areas where there's a lack of biodiversity, and they also contribute to greening areas. And so it's very beneficial for the overall ecosystem and the natural ecosystem as well. Other nice ways that we try to support circular economy is by promoting circular economy enterprises, by profiling them through Dublin City FM. It's a local radio station, through press releases, through events. We also are partnered. There's a website called Dublin Place Brand, and so there's stories on local social enterprise, local circular enterprises that are featured on there. Another very practical way that we try to support circular economy enterprises or businesses is through buying from them. And so we commission trophies from local enterprises, local circular enterprises. So these trophies, for example, are made using reused, upcycled material. And the reason we do that is to nudge the circular enterprise or the social enterprise to think about a new revenue stream, but it also is, we also then use it to promote that as an opportunity to other big organizations in the city to think about, well, how could they buy from local social or local circular enterprises? When we get a chance, a few years ago, we were involved with a hackathon in DCU. So for the, like, we just thought, well, what's a creative prize? We partnered with a local enterprise that upcycle bicycles, and we decided, well, that's a great prize to give to the students. It's a circular prize. It's a very practical prize for the students. So we try to be creative in terms of nudging enterprises and commissioning products and services from them from whenever we can. Another way we support circular economy enterprises is through giving them tickets to attend events, giving them stalls at markets, or even organizing expos. Speaking of which, we organized a large event called So Circular back in October, and we had fantastic enterprises like Refunk and Happy Earth there exhibiting, amongst about 50 other social enterprises, circular enterprises, support organizations. This event was our effort to try and showcase Dublin's social economy and Dublin's circular economy. It was to try and take the enterprises, many of which are small scale, they're in the background, and bring them to a premier event space and celebrate all the good that they're doing. And also, very importantly, to try and invite as many government officials, businesses, to come down and to meet with local social enterprises and to meet with local circular enterprises, and then encourage them to buy from those enterprises in future. We also had policy discussions. There were fireside chats. The wonderful Leila was also involved with one of those fireside chats where she was explaining her network. So the event was all about trying to celebrate, supercharge the ecosystem around social economy and circular economy. That brings me now to a big event that Dublin City Council is supporting along with Circulera, the Rediscovery Centre, and the Eastern Midland Region Waste Office. So I'm just going to play a video now, and then I'll be wrapping up with a couple of final slides.
The circular economy is happening in Dublin. Dublin is a place of culture, creativity and innovation, and circular economic momentum has built across our capital in the last 2 years. Adoption and investment in circular economic activity is addressing the climate crisis, building European connections and enabling transformational social change. The next 2 years will see policy put into action, government strategies implemented, investment committed, and public awareness grow. Now is the time to build on that momentum. Join us for Circular Economy Hotspot 2023, where we will explore and celebrate circular economic success across the Dublin metropolitan area. Our programme of events will focus on 3 key pillars: policy, citizen engagement, innovation and collaboration. Across these pillars, we will identify opportunities in social enterprise, design and manufacturing, the built environment, food systems and the bioeconomy. with conferences, research, workshops, tours, and of course, time for a pint or two. Dublin Circular Hotspot is said to be a circular session like no other.
Okay, and then I'm just going to finish out the slideshow. Just, oh. Okay, sorry. Hopefully you can see my slides now. Okay, so as I was saying, yeah, so hopefully that video just presented the core idea. It's basically circular economy hotspot is a big deal. It's the first time that this event will be hosted in Ireland. So it's a big deal for Dublin and for Ireland. This initiative started a few years ago in the Netherlands, and basically it's grown since. And it's a big it's a big deal for a city or for a country to host it. There's only a number of countries that have hosted it so far, and so when Dublin hosts it, it'll really be our chance to highlight to Europe and to the world all the good stuff that's going on in Dublin through the hotspot. So if you are interested in getting involved, there's a specific website called Dublin Circular Economy Hotspot, which you can find out all the details. The core of the event is going to take place from the 29th of May to the 1st of June 2023. There'll be workshop, there'll be networking, there'll be events, there'll be like kind of a policy conference as well. We're still developing the program, but there'll be loads of stuff happening, and it's a really good opportunity to find out what's going to be happening in the future in Dublin and what's happening now. So I strongly encourage you to get involved and look forward to seeing you. So that brings me to the end. Looking forward to the rest of the items on the agenda. Thanks, Leila.
Thank you so much, Norman. That was great to hear all the amazing work Dublin City Council is doing to support circular economy. And we're really looking forward to the circular economy hotspot events next year.